Yeah, it's so critically important, one, to dispel this myth that people have, which is thinking is analytical and it doesn't include emotional intelligence and all that. Metacognition drives emotional intelligence. Like emotional intelligence is almost entirely metacognition.
Right.
In fact, meta-analyses, and there's a lot of meta in there, but meta-analyses, which are kind of the gold standard of science, because it's taking lots of different studies and putting them together and seeing what they all are saying sort of as a collective.
Yeah.
Meta-analytic studies on metacognition, sort of too much meta, show that if you want to develop emotional intelligence, you'd be better off teaching metacognition than teaching directly to emotional intelligence, which is like a mind-blowing fact.
Meaning awareness of how you're thinking about things is the root of being able to respond in a moment with emotional intelligence, awareness, pro-social stuff.
Yeah. And the reason that's so critically important is especially with emotion. Like you said, sometimes an emotion will just appear out of nowhere.
Yeah.
You don't even know why you're feeling it. Well, that's because the thought that preceded the emotion, the thinking that the mental model that caused the emotion to come into play was subconscious.
Right.
Right? So you thought something subconsciously that spurred on an emotion, and now that emotion is showing up in your conscious life. Right?
In a moment that isn't necessarily connected to that emotion.
In a moment that might not be a good moment to have that, or whatever. You might not be related to the situation that you're in. It might have just reminded your thought process of something, and then that spurs this emotion. Or it could be related. Somebody could be saying something or doing something that is bringing up emotion.
But the only way to figure that out is to be aware of it and think it through.
Be able to see that thought that happened. And with practice, that's the key. With practice, that thought can become brought immediately out of your subconscious and into your conscious, so you can go, oh yeah, like I'm totally reacting right now. I'm full blown reacting right now. So I'm gonna pause. I'm gonna take a breath.
Yeah, before
I send that email. Before I have that snappy, snippy retort, before I press send on the email,
We're not speaking from personal experience.
Yeah.
All right, so let's start at the beginning then. You said, okay, we're talking about practice. We need to practice it. Let's start at the very beginning of basically where somebody would need to start.
One, what are we practicing? We're practicing thinking. We're practicing trying to be more aware of our thinking, which is metacognition. Thinking is both subconscious and conscious, right? So we're really trying to bring more of our subconscious to the surface. Why do we want to do that? Because it's thinking drives all human change, all human performance in any realm. Metacognition will increase our success in any realm, personal or professional. You'll be better at whatever it is you're trying to do, whether that thing is physical, whether it's conceptual, whether it's emotional, whether it's, logistical, family, personal life, professional life. It doesn't matter whether you're organizing a team. I'm always kind of interested in when I hear Arnold Schwarzenegger talk about when he was, Mr. Universe, and when he was figuring that out as a young man, this is like weightlifting and bodybuilding, literally body sculpting was what he was doing. He was a deep thinker about that. And if you listen to what he's saying and what he was inventing,
right.
Now we know all this stuff. But when you listen to what he was inventing for the first time, he was an innovator in that space. He was talking about when you're doing a curl, focus your thought on the muscle.
Right.
Focus your thought on the muscle and be aware of your form and, the range and all blah, 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 right? So it might not be completely obvious to people how is thinking part of working out? Well, the way you work out is determined by the mental model you have of what is the right way to work out.
Yes, that's right.
So if you're working out in ways that are ineffective, in ways that are, not functional, demotivating,
you got to change the way you're thinking.
you got to change the way you think to change the way you work out. The reason Arnold was so remarkable at sculpting one's body and showed us, the possibilities of this kind of world is because he was thinking deeply about these kinds of things and then changing his practice based on changing his thoughts.
Right.
Things change when thinking changes. Universally says, right?
No matter what it is.
So if you want something to change, you have to change your thinking.
Yes.
So the only time that this is not necessary is if you're totally cool.
Oh, meaning you don't need to change.
If you don't want anything to change about your life, you don't need to change your thinking.
You're good.
Everything's good.
Well.
Unless you just want to get good at, but even that's change, right? So if there's anything about your life, personal, professional, or otherwise, about yourself that you want to change for whatever reason that you want to change it, the starting point of that change is changing your thinking, because that mental model will cascade into behavior, beliefs, emotion, action,